To Ellam. I'm the founder of Soulfully Connecting, and today I am again speaking with Wahido Marata. The reason for this interview is that there's an awful lot going on and a lot of talk about meditation these days. It's really coming to the forefront, and I thought that Wahido was an ideal person to interview about this because he lives in a spiritual school which is based around meditation. So if he doesn't know about meditation, I don't think anybody will. So good afternoon, Wahido. Nice to talk to you again.
Hello, Sue. Thank you for having me again.
It's my pleasure.
I think I know a little bit about meditation.
Just a trifle.
See how it goes.
Okay, well, everybody kind of assumes that people know what meditation is. So let's aim this at somebody who's never heard of it before. So what is meditation?
And I think there is several ways to describe meditation. For me, from what I've learned and practiced for several years now, slowly started when I was 17 and then, more on a regular basis since I was 21. And so basically I feel that meditation is just a space that can bring us a lot of relaxation and a bit of a sense of being mind-free, which means that we put aside our problems, we put aside our issues, anything that bothers us in a psychological or mental way, and we just go into a space where we feel more connected to our senses, connected to our energy, connected to the energy of our environment, connected to the energy of the earth and ultimately to the universe. I think many people, and I think it's good to demystify a little bit the word meditation, because many people think it's something that it's only for Sidhus and Siddhas and people who live in the Himalayas or in monasteries related to religion like Zen or Buddhism. But nowadays, what many teachers are bringing us is the tool of meditation into our daily lives. So actually, I live in a spiritual school, and we have several times during the day where we specifically practice certain techniques of meditation, but the main meditation is the day-to-day basis living. So it's basically a lifestyle that is guided or practiced by doing meditation. And this can be only by watching your breath or by focusing on anything else but your thoughts, or focusing on actually what you're doing rather than being so immersed in the way you're thinking. Watching your breath sounds so easy and unique and spiritual, sort of speaking, but actually if you start practicing it on a regular basis and you bring your attention really to the breath, when you are aware of your breath, then you feel that there is much more going on than just your breath and in your mind. So this is the main thing that I feel that meditation brings, a space where you can see the mind for what it is, see what you're feeling for what it is, bringing up the awareness of the senses, of the environment, and then by doing this, which I feel it's very difficult for many people, you can actually have a little bit more access to the subconscious, which holds so much information that usually people cannot access because they are so busy trying to address the negative bias of the brain, which makes them basically meaning that you are focused on the problems. You are focused on resolving whatever issues you have with yourself, with your life, with your partner, family, etc. And that's it. Life is basically the mind. It's resolving anything that shows up, or entertaining yourself when you are free from that busyness. And so there's much more that the scientists and quantum physics and the spiritual teachers are teaching us nowadays, much more than that reality. There's a reality much beyond that. And meditation is a vehicle, a very special tool that allows us to see a little bit more of what's behind all this.
I find it interesting because with meditation, it does kind of give you that connection. But even with people that meditate or on a spiritual level, and they pride themselves as being very, spiritual, highly evolved, it's so easy still to get trapped into the chaos of the mind, especially if you're taken unaware. If a circumstance not of your making, if something happens that maybe, an accident or something happens outside of your control, then it's amazing how many people who are spiritual people, who have the awareness, they still get triggered and their mind keeps churning over. So it's not an easy thing. It sounds very simple, just to concentrate on your breath and to be present in the moment. But it's an enormously difficult discipline to do in practice all of the time. It's like you're falling off the wagon and then getting back on again. So the benefits of, I think a lot of it's probably quite obvious, the benefits of meditation, but can you kind of encapsulate what benefits of meditation are and what they've meant to you personally, maybe?
I think there is many things that the scientists are now discovering, like growing the gray matter of your brain. This is one of the benefits that they say meditation brings. It lowers your heartbeat, meaning it lowers or it enhances the circulation of the blood in your body. It's definitely creates a better sense of an energy flow, because it relaxes. All the hormones of your brain start working in a much more harmonious way. The glands of your body can be harmonized in a much more efficient way because of the hormones that are released when they are functioning in a more beautiful way. But for me, I think the most beneficial out of all these physical benefits, the most or the benefit that I see more, how do you say, beneficial, is the detachment of the thoughts and the feelings and all the things that are happening inside your brain, inside your mind. This is what I've been feeling for many years. People always say, and this is not only a metaphor, but sitting like a Buddha, for instance. People have this picture of relaxation, and it is obvious. You relax. It's like going into a deep sleep, but being awake. And so you start feeling the different wavelengths of the way that your mind function, and so it lowers the frequency, but at the same time it enhances it to different levels of this mechanical way of how the mind functions. And so for me, the most effective benefit is the being a bit detached from the mind and having a clear vision of what our thoughts mean. And if you want to address the negative bias of the brain, definitely with meditation, it's much more beneficial. And so I have been going through a lot of phases, and it's not that people who are spiritual do not suffer from depression or do not feel down or faced with death or accidents, feel very shaken. And many times it's very difficult to bring about meditation to resolve all the things that need to be resolved. But it's a bit like Christianity, when people pray, or when the different religions set aside several times a day to focus on praying. Meditation is a bit like praying. It's basically focused on higher aspects that you have inside, which have a symbolism on the outside by a god or by an avatar, or someone special like a guru, and you focus on those more elevated realms of existence. And so this is another thing that I find very, very clear of benefits from meditation. But of course, you know, all the way that the brain functions with well, the different parts of the brain, the neocortex and the limbic brain and the reptilian brain, you know, it creates a frequency that, and you know, I'm sorry, I cannot elaborate this further, but the quantum physics have been exploring all these theories which are becoming now concrete realities and explainable, that you know, it creates a much better flow, you know, lowers your levels of cortisol and adrenaline, and you know, you are able to focus much better on the things that you need to focus, rather than being just in this constant chattering inside your mind.
It's amazing, isn't it? That something so simple can have such a massive effect on somebody's body, not just on their thoughts and to calm their mind, but the whole physical aspect of the whole body. It's quite incredible, really, when you think about it. So how long would somebody need to meditate for in order to get the real benefits? Because I know when the thing about exercise, people, it's kind of generally said if you do like 20 minutes or half an hour every day, then that's enough to keep your body kind of mobile and things. So what about meditation? Is it the same kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. I mean, as you know, I follow the teachings of Tony Samara, and from what I've heard him saying, practicing 24 minutes per day seems to be very effective. But you know, it's like anything. You cannot expect someone that never meditated to sit for 24 minutes per day and go deep in their meditation. Just like going to the gym, you need to start slow. Or not, it really depends. But I would say if people start with 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and then go a bit further until they feel comfortable to do it for longer. We do meditations on a weekly basis for 1 hour, but you know, it always depends on how you feel, and if you are doing by yourself or in a group. You know, it really depends. It's not dogmatic. You know, you can have you know, like a Mozart of meditation, who in 2 minutes you know, gets the neck of it and starts meditating for hours afterwards. Or you have those people who actually have a very intense mental mechanism, who lets them relax less fast, sort of speaking, and have more difficulties in practicing meditation. I mean, first of all, you need to have a good posture. You need to sit straight, if possible, leg crossed. You know, there are several things that allow people to meditate, or you can meditate standing up. You know, like I've heard Tony Samara say, you know, many of the spiritual teachers actually got enlightened, if you know what I mean, by standing up. Not by standing up, but by on a sitting up position. So I think there is no dogma. It really depends on the individual, and depends on who the individual is learning with and meditating with.
You said legs crossed. Can you confirm what you mean by that?
Yes. I mean, as you know, I'm not English, so I hope I'm not saying anything which is incorrect. But you know, when you sit and you cross your legs and you sit down,
like a yoga position.
Like a yoga position, but
okay.
You know, there's several half lotus posture, full lotus posture, or just crossed legs. You know, there's several ways. The most important thing is that your back is straight. You know.
Okay.
Like I've heard other teachers say, it depends on how comfortable you are. It doesn't matter really if you are lying down or sitting up or even standing up. What matters is that you're comfortable. Because if you are in pain, that's where the focus is, rather than on the meditation. So, but also the body, especially in the beginning, like if you go to the gym on the first day and you start training, of course your body will ache the next day. It's obvious. It's less acid lactic. Protecting your muscles. So obviously your joints will hurt a bit, your back will hurt a bit, perhaps not. But if it does, it's normal. It's not something that you should worry about, and you should never quit in the first, in the beginning, just because it hurts a bit. Of course, it's part of the practice.
No, because the reason I asked about the legs crossed is when because I do readings and things, and it's quite good when people don't. For me, as an English person, to have your legs crossed is just be sitting up with one leg crossed across the other, rather not in a kind of a yoga posture. And it's always like you're blocking the body off, and that's the reason I asked. It's best not to have the one leg crossed over the other for that.
Yes.
That's
but
what I asked.
I've heard all of it, because, for instance, I had a teacher in India. She was a master in Ayurvedic, Ayurveda, basically, which is several. Well, it's not a religion, but it's how do you say? It's a tradition, no? Ayurveda, and so she was a master in Ayurveda, not only cooking, but also another branch, which is yoga. So she was a master in yoga, and she was saying, you in order to have the back really straight, you should do, like you were saying, one leg on top of the other, crossed.
Yeah.
So she said the half lotus or lotus was actually not indicated for some people. So I don't know, really. It all depends on how comfortable you feel.
Okay, that seems to be the best thing. Are there any best practices for yoga? Yoga, what am I talking about? Change the subject on you. How good's your yoga?
Not as good as meditation.
So are there any best practices? Are there any particular rules that you need to follow other than the ones we talked about? Are there any particular rules, or is it just to go with the flow of meditation?
Yes, I think there are several rules which are very important for me, that they are put into practice. The first one is how you are seated. For, I would say, best practice of meditation, it is best that your back is always straight, so that the energy really flows, and somehow your shoulders are a bit backwards, and your chin a bit down, so that there is this sense of relaxation throughout the whole upper body. And then being sit, as I said, it's best when your legs are crossed, because then there is a natural. You've seen how children, for instance, sit. They always sit leg crossed or with their legs on the side. But there is always this feeling that they are very relaxed, but at the same time straight, so that there is no crunching of the shoulders. There is no feeling that there is no relaxation, or a feeling that there is a muscle being pressed too much. There is a sense of pure relaxation. I think that's one of the first things that you should do when you meditate. Then there is other things that I would recommend, but another thing that I find very important is the way that you breathe. It should always be relaxed, deep. When you breathe deeply, you breathe in through your nose. Some people breathe through your mouth, but we actually have the nose in order to actually breathe. So I would always suggest breathing through the nose. And when you breathe in, you feel your lungs, but you also feel your belly, so that the breath goes deep down throughout all your chakras. Or if you don't know what chakras are, but these energetic centers that acupuncture and many other traditions found that they happen on the upper part of the body, and so that the breath goes to the down parts of the body up to the top. That's a very, very important thing. Also, I believe that closing your eyes helps a lot, because it shuts, I don't know, I think it's like 60 or 70% of the energy that we use actually are used by what we see. So you keep all that energy inside, and you focus that vision, sort of speaking, inwardly. And so I feel that that's very, very important. And then I think it's very important also to have a spiritual teacher, not as in the way you meditate, but how you meditate. Because having a spiritual teacher is like having any teacher, you know. And you know, although Mozart was a genius in the beginning, he had a bit of help, and I think it's very, very helpful to have a spiritual teacher who can guide you. But moreover, that you feel that there is an energetic transmission that happens in a more direct way. But if you don't have a spiritual teacher, I find that it's very helpful to have a group of people that you can meditate with. I find it tremendously helpful.
It's interesting because I find I always close my eyes when I meditate because it allows my inner vision to be more focused, and I see things without being distracted by what I can see physically around me. It makes it easier to go into another dimension, another world. And I remember once being I tend to meditate, to be honest, on my own quite a lot, but when I was traveling, I was in a group of people meditating, and some people like to put guided meditations on, and they also like kind of music. For me personally, I mean, it works for many people, but for me personally, I found it very distracting, and I couldn't actually get into my own meditation because, and I think it's probably a very, very individual thing. I couldn't get deeply into my own meditation because of the distractions of what's happening around me. I think it's quite difficult to get into your own state when you've got that distraction. But again, I think it's a personal thing. What do you think about that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think the group or even the teacher should be someone that you, or a group that you actually feel comfortable with, you know, and that actually enhances your practice rather than making it less strong. So definitely I would choose a group that you really feel comfortable with, that you feel like you don't have to put up your ego, or that your masks can be dropped and you just feel real and sincere with other people. You know, meditation is such an intimate space, and sharing it with others obviously needs to be in a space that you feel comfortable. And obviously by choosing the group, you choose the meditations that they do, and you actually do the meditations that you feel are better for you. There are so many thousands of meditations around the world, so some active ones, some more passive, some silent, some not silent. So it really depends on the one that you choose. But if you choose a group that plays music or does some meditation that you don't really like, of course, it's not going to be helpful.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. So the different types of meditation, can you give us a kind of a brief overview? I know there's many. A brief overview of the main categories of meditation, because I know there's many ways that you can approach it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there is quite a lot of categories, so speaking, but I would put it in two main ones. One is, and this might be a bit surprising for some people, but one is a meditation that you practice by yourself or with a group, and on another category, a meditation that you practice with a spiritual teacher. And I say this because for me there is such a big difference. A meditation that you practice by yourself can be any kind of meditation, any technique, and in that technique, which is more what you're asking, you can have the category of active or passive meditation. You can have the category of more silent or non-silent. You can have more breathing meditation, which allows you to actually enhance the physical aspect of the body more than the energetic aspect of the body. Or you have more the energetic ones, which focus on several postures, or you know, they are practiced a lot in yoga, for instance, where the intention is to enhance the energy and the energy of the body, and allow the communication between you and sort of your higher self be more direct. there are many meditations which are purely like sports. Of course, they allow that deep relaxation afterwards, and many times they have stages. So there is a more active stage at the beginning, and then you have a more or less active second stage, and then the last stage usually it's in silence, where you actually integrate. And Osho's meditations work a lot like this, where at the end you have a integration, they call it time, where you actually integrate everything that comes up during the meditation. But these are all part of meditations that you can practice yourself or on a group. When you practice meditation with a spiritual teacher, it actually, all the techniques are upside down. It's like there is no technique, and the technique is the practice, or the direct practice with the spiritual teacher. Because when you do this, there is such an energetic transmission. Tony Samara practices more than, what I want to say is, gives daily satsangs and satsangs on a weekly basis for longer. And so during that time, it's not that there is such structure in terms of meditation, but the whole satsang, which is actually an energy transmission, works as a meditation and allows people to experience, feelings and emotions and energetic expansions and things getting triggered not only in the mind but in the physical body, in a way that it's I would say very difficult to be able to do it by yourself. You can always connect, if you're not doing it by yourself, with a guru or a person that actually works more in an etherical way, not in the physical realm. Maybe someone that died already, like many people connect to Jesus or even to the angels, archangel, this and that, which I feel enhances the practice in a physical way to be more energetic. But I think nothing compares really to the way that the work is possible through meditation with the spiritual teacher in a physical presence. So this is what I would say in a roundabout way, what kind of meditations there are. But in each tradition, usually there are 108 meditations, which people carry in a mala, and they practice the meditations that the guru basically, or the spiritual teacher gives. Sometimes it depends on the student, so each student has a different meditation, or they practice a specific mantra, which is a sound that is produced by chanting, and that creates a frequency in the body that enhances the spiritual practice. So it doesn't have to be only practiced while you spend the time doing meditation, but it can be practiced on an ongoing basis during the day. So yeah, it really depends on the tradition, really. But there are so many different.
Yeah, I tend to be of the mindset that people will be attracted to what suits them, and that if it doesn't work for them, then they won't do that. So I think if I know that Tony has a lot of meditations online, so if people want to dip into that to see if it works for them, that his particular form of meditation, could you give us the contact details of that, Wahido?
Yes, of course.
Get him. Yeah.
I just wanted to say something very, very simply, that like the military uses meditation. Sometimes they don't call it meditation, but there is a specific meditation that they practice, which is the 4-4-4, which is you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, or maybe not seconds, but time, four times, and then you hold it for 4 times, and then for the same 4 times you exhale. And you do this on a continuous basis, and this is to address emotional states, and it was especially used by the military in times of war, so that they can actually release the emotions and focus on what they needed to focus, which sometimes was actually getting out of the situation alive. So Tony Samara has a lot of meditations online. If you go to the YouTube channel, for instance, which is Samara Foundation, if you just go on YouTube, put Samara Foundation, put Tony Samara, you'll find the channel Tony Samara, and so you will see that there are many meditations. Some work with specific parts of the body which are connected to the glands, pineal or pituitary gland. There is one very famous one called the third eye meditation, where Tony guides us through a process working with the third eye, which connects directly to the pineal pituitary gland, which then enhances the communication to the subconscious and the higher realms of existence and consciousness. And there's several other ones, like the alternate nostril breathing, which is a very famous one also, that is used more in the full moons and the new moons, when people want to balance the masculine and the feminine, because it works with both nostrils, which connect to the different hemispheres of the brain. There are the more quiet ones, which you can even do it lying down if you want, really for deep relaxation, which is mainly what people are looking for. And I know so many people who are so tense and so full of stress, and basically what they need is just a few moments of pure relaxation. So you can try the left look meditation, for instance, which is one of my favorites, and you know, experience a little bit of bliss. Why not? Just for 10-15 minutes. But yeah, you can go to YouTube, or you can go to tonysamara.com. That's TonySamara.com, and you'll see that there's several meditations there, which also connect to the YouTube channel. So everything is for free, available. And if people want to go a bit more in depth, then I would recommend the satsangs, which Tony gives not only on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis. And whenever there's a full moon or a new moon, we utilize those energies to go deeper into our awareness and consciousness. And Tony also gives a special satsang during those times.
Thank you very much indeed. That's been really interesting. I always enjoy being educated and learning new things. Or I knew quite a bit about meditation, but you took it kind of that step further. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Tony Samara is also an author on soulfully connecting, and I know that I've got a few of his meditations on there as well, if you want to have a look at some of his writing. And that's www.soulfully-connecting.com. Well, thank you very much for that. You're taking your time, Wahido, on this Sunday afternoon to talk to me and to let people know much more about meditation, what it involves, and the benefits that they can get from this practice, which is I don't know, it brings you so much peace of mind by doing it, but it is definitely a discipline. It's not something that's easily achieved. To do it very well, you've really got to shut your mind off, and that, I think, especially in the Western world, is incredibly difficult these days. There's so much, we're in information overload. So I liken it to, you know, you've got kind of a vase and you're filling it up with all this stuff. Every now and again, it's good just to empty that vase out, throw it in the rubbish, and then we can start again. But by meditating, that, how I see it, is it's like emptying that vase out, giving it a good wash, and then you can start again with your thoughts. But over a period of time, you'll find that vase fills up slower and slower, and you've got more flow, and you won't have to clear it out quite as aggressively. So that's my my thoughts really on meditation. But Wahido, thank you again very much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Oh, and Wahido has got a listing on Soulfully Connecting, which I want to tell you about. It's a doTERRA oils, so you can find him in there in our business directory. Okay, well, good afternoon everybody, and I hope you have a very pleasant rest of day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.